So let me double check, make sure I got everything. So we got the talking view. That's the end view and the overhead view. And they all look pretty good, which is good because a few minutes ago the sun was shining through the window and they were looking pretty dark. So
good.
Okay. So let me know if anything goes wacky, because like I said, this is the test drive. And I've told other people we're on plan C as far as cameras and everything these days. So, but oh, start the recording. Okay, so welcome. What we're going to talk about today is turning a pepper / salt mill / spice mill using the crush grind ceramic mechanisms. So let me grab. Everybody's probably familiar with the older style, which is just the steel ones. And they're pretty simple. I don't have one close by, I don't think. Well, actually, yes, I do. So this is the I don't know if the older style or basically you have a rod which goes through a stainless steel grinder. And you have the, I guess I don't know what to call it, but the thing that it grinds against, and then you end up with this little spring which pushes into the bottom of a pepper mill like this. This is a standard one. And so you load it in there. And then it puts out the top, and you put your knob on the top. And this one's gonna be too long to start with, but you can just cut them off. So what you do is you measure how much extra you have between the top and where the threads start. And then what you can do is you take it and you cut off this end over here opposite the threads. And what all you have to do is like peen that down with a hammer, put it in a little vise and hit with a hammer a couple times to mushroom it out at whatever length you want. And that's how you don't have to worry about how long the pepper mill actually is. So that's actually the biggest pain with pepper mills, is trying to get them the right length. The answer is you don't worry about it, you just cut the rod off to where you want it. So now the crush grind ones, they say they're a little bit different. They have the rod is not threaded at all. It uses this little friction fit. It's harder to do it on without it mounted somewhere. But this just pulls off, and the actual mechanism is ceramic inside, and you control the grit by changing that knob. And so if you look at it, this has these little ears on it, which technically are supposed to click into a groove that you cut. Same with the top, has these little knobs on it. But it just basically pushes in. It has ribs here, which dig into the wood a little bit so it doesn't spin on you. That is real nice. It gives you a nice fine grind. And they're the other trouble with these is they're all metric. So you can get close with standard bits, but you sort of need, if you're gonna do it with using the tabs and everything, you need the metric bits. So, but we'll come back to the mechanism. Again, you just cut that off to whatever length you want to make it all work.
Good question, Tom.
Yep.
What's the advantages, disadvantages of ceramic over the other
I think the ceramic gives you a finer grind. It doesn't corrode if you use it with salt, like steel would. I mean, even stainless steel eventually is going to corrode. Ceramic won't.
Okay.
And from what I hear, I haven't used one to know enough. Because the grind is finer and more consistent. But I don't know how true that is.
Okay.
The other nice thing about it, if you're actually making them, since you don't have to have that rod going all the way through the top, you can actually do some different designs that don't have, like a lot of people will make where the bottom will be a pepper mill, but then the top will actually be a salt shaker. And so since you want the rod going through the middle, you can do something like that. So, and they also sell a real short one, which I've never used it, but it is basically just this bottom part, and it has like a plastic fitting here, so you can do a real short, stubby mill. So, but that's just some of the thoughts on that. Any more questions on the mechanisms? If now we'll go to the choosing your blank. So to start with, when I first started, can someone mute their TV? Let's see. You want a bank that's about 3 inches in diameter. Your finished diameter, at least for mine, I never measure them, but they always seem to come out around 2.5 inches, in diameter when I finish them. It just, I don't know, maybe that looks good to me or something, or that's just where they end up coming out. As far lengths is, like I say, I don't worry about how long it is, as long as it's about long enough to get to the size pepper mill I want. So if I want a 10-inch one or 12-inch one, and I'll get a blank that's that long plus a couple inches, just so I have enough to play with. And like I said, I don't even try to match the length to the rods anymore. I just cut the rods off. You pay $1 or $2 more and you can get the longest rod you can. You just cut it off at the end, whatever size you need. So what I've done on this one now, it's already rounded. You can't see it too well, but let me. So I've already rounded it, and I've marked out. Yep, that's where I am. So I've marked out spaces for 3 tenons that'll fit in my chuck. So a tenon on the bottom of the body, a tenon on the top of the body, and a tenon on the top of the top knob. Then what I also like to do, actually what I should do, actually let me jump over to this other quick, I just want to show what our profiles are going to look like when we start doing this. So let's share that. So now, let's go down to this one. So this is basically a your standard old-fashioned metal grinder. So basically you have 3 drill bits, 1 5/8, and this one's not critical at all. You have 1 1/16 they use for the bore. And again, this is not real critical. This could be, around the bottom here, you want it to be around 1/16 inch. But you could drill it 1 inch and then open this up with a scraper a little bit or something, just enough to get the mechanism in. And this width can be anything you really want it to be, as long as it holds enough pepper for you. Then you have another drill bit which you drill through the knob to the top, so you can put the rod all the way from top to bottom. So this one's pretty straightforward. None of the actual dimensions are really critical. It's pretty straightforward. Then if you look at these first two are from Craft Supplies instruction sheets. If you look at the ceramic ones, you have this first diameter, which is around, they do 1.75 inches. I do mine in probably 1.7/8 inches. And then I round these edges a little bit, only because people have to reach in here to adjust the grind. So I like to take the sharp edge off and give them a little bit more room for the people with fat fingers like me. Then you have this one, which is on there. This is around 1/9/16. Then they have the 1 1/16 bore, and the lid, they do theirs 15/16 to fit that lid piece into the knob. Now the only trouble is with the way they do it. Remember I was showing those little tabs on it before? The tabs actually need a little place to go. And I'll show you on the next picture. So this one, they're using all standard bits. So all these holes are gonna be a little bit larger than they should be if you're doing it in metric. So what they suggest doing is actually epoxying those plastic parts into here and into the lid. So that's how they get around that. They put some epoxy on it. They don't care their holes are a little big. If you want to actually do it like it was designed to do, then these holes are a little bit different. I do 1 7/8 down the bottom here, and then you do this one, which is around 1.5 is the closest English dimension. And then you have these little ears up here, which I cut those. I have this little scraper, which I can't show you right now, but I'll show you when I'm done sharing the screen. And then up in the knob, again, you have, let's see, it's 21 millimeters. No, where's 7/8. I'm sorry, 7/8 here. And then you need someplace for the end of the rod to go a little bit. So that's around 5/8. I put in there, and you have this other slot for the tabs in that one. So this was a little bit, this is the way I'm going to make it tonight. Doesn't need any epoxy. I'm using, the 7/8 is close enough. I don't need to use a metric one there. I actually have metric bits for these ones down here. So that's what we're going to be playing with today. As far as, but here's the tool I was going to use. So it's actually for my threading set, and it, let's see. And so it just cuts a little recess, and so that's just a scraper. A lot of people make them up. This came with the Sorby threading sets that I have. So I haven't turned any thread yet, but I'm using a pepper mill, so money well spent. So what we're going to do first is turn down the tenons to fit in the chuck, and then I'm going to separate the knob from the base. And one thing you do want to do is make sure you put some kind of indicator of which way is up, because we're going to be flipping these around a couple times doing drilling and everything. So you always want to make sure you don't get them wrong. So let's start. Making some tenons. Okay, so I'm going to just start with the top one. Yeah, this is them. Middle one. And the bottom one. And I'm just eyeing these up, get them close. And now we got to separate out the top and bottom now. There we go. Go. So we'll put the top aside for time being. And first thing we're going to do is put the bottom of the mill, the bottom of the body, into the chuck. And we're going to drill our holes. Tell me. Not eye that up well. Okay, I got to fix that. Maybe this will fit. Okay. Take that one down a little bit more. Okay, so I'm going to clean up that end of with the Okay, with a little dimple there to help the drill bit get started. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to drill the 1 1/16 hole. So now this is the top of the body. So there's my arrow. So we're going to drill halfway through from the top down. Let me know if you want to see a different view. So I can swap the cameras around.
This is a pretty good view of what you're doing right now, Tom.
Okay. So I'm going to turn the speed down. So I'm going to go about halfway in, so about up to the connector. Get that on my way. This is just a 1 1/16 bit and a extension. I think these both came from Craft Supplies, but a lot of places sell them. Okay, so that should get me halfway. So take this out for a minute. Then the other thing I like to do on mine, I like to put a little tenon on the little knob on the top knob that fits down into this. Just I think it makes it fit in a little better, just a little classier, I think. So I'm going to cut a little recess in there to do that. Always turn off your light before you move your tool rest, by the way. Just move some stuff out of the way here. Yeah. I don't knock my mouse off there. It's nice light cut since I extended out pretty far here. So actually, we go. So let's see what that looks like just real quick. That'll be that picture maybe. Yeah, so I just put a little recess in there.
Tom, couldn't you have just used like a 1 1/8 inch drill?
I could have, yeah. But then I would have changed drill bits. So just to cut it, it doesn't take that long. And it's more fun to turn it than to cut it and drill it. So at this point, this is all ready now until we do our next flip-flop. So now what I'm going to do is make sure so drill the base. Yep, now flip the leg around again. Make sure I don't miss any steps. That'd be sort of embarrassing.
Do you sand it before you take it out or no?
No, I won't sand it till close to the end.
All right.
There it goes. Got it. Running nice and true. Let me switch back to the top view if I can find it. There it is. Okay, so back to my drill bit. Oh, I'm still in bowl setting. That's why it's okay. That should be fine for now. And the reason you go from both sides is if I try to go the whole way from one side, the bit is going to, and you're going to get some error. If the shaft is not perfectly straight, the peppercorns aren't going to know. But it'll still be relatively centered on both ends, so you shouldn't have any problem getting the knob fit in and everything else like that.
Tom, how do you know how deep to go on that one?
Slide it up, but I'll fill it when it punches through. I'll fill it. It'll be pretty obvious once it goes through.
Are you just punching through to the other side then?
Yeah.
Same size, okay.
Yeah, I'm almost there now. As I should be. Yep, there it is.
Oh, good alignment. All right.
Yeah, this will turn out pretty good. Yeah, I mean, every once in a while you get like maybe a 1/16 of an inch or, where it won't quite meet up. But this one went pretty well. And now, next thing I'm going to do is, let's see if I have I think I'm going to have to take that Yeah, I'm going to have to turn that tenon off. Stuck the actual base. My base is going to be wider than that, so I'm going to take that off for I do my next drilling. And again, just to be a little careful, we're hanging out quite a bit, so. Okay. Now I'm really, you have to remember those 2 holes on the bottom that had to be drilled through. So if we look at, let's see, let's share my screen again real quick. So now we have to drill, there we go, these 2 holes. So this was about 1.7/8, this is about 1.5 inches. And this is the critical dimension right here, that depth. Oop. Someone's loud and I'm going to try to mute people. Yeah, if you're not muted, try to mute yourself. I'm getting some feedback from somebody. Okay, that sounds better. So anyhow, so this depth is the real critical one because you need to have those tabs click right into this slot. And it has to be deep enough to actually seat the mechanism into here. So, and I say, if you look at that, it's like 1 in 11/32. Take that off. Or 34 millimeters. Now, you could measure that. You could use your, 1.5 bit and your 1.7/8 bit, but I actually came across something. Do people remember Brendan Stemp? He used to be a YouTube guy from Australia. He was big on pepper grinders. That was one of his signature items. So he and the woodcut company down in Australia came up with this. Oh, let me get back to stop sharing here. He came up with this called a mill drill. So what it is it's a big chunk of iron with 2 cutters on each side. And they're spaced perfectly for that spacing you need for the crush grind mechanism. So you can adjust the depth in and out of these, so you can set them wherever you need to, and as you sharpen them, you can bring them. They're always accurate. So I'm going to use that instead of trying to get, measuring 10 times and trying to get exactly 32 millimeters or 34 millimeters, whatever it is. And actually, give me a moment. I'm going to change my glasses here. There we go. So the mill drill just fits right into the tailstock. Has a mark right here, which gives you that perfect depth that they talk about. But that bottom, the bigger hole really isn't critical. It only needs to be deep enough to bury the adjusting knob. And they say the distance between the cutters is already set, though. That's the critical dimension that I need. And this shaft right here is 1 inch, so it fits right into the hole you drilled. Now, if you weren't going to use this drill, I probably would have used the 1 7/8 drill first, then the 1.5 inch drill second, and then finish the 1 1/16 hole. But with the mill drill, you have to have the 1/16 hole for clearance for this. So, and the other important thing is you don't want to grab this at all because it's just a Morse taper into there. So you don't want to. If I grab that and it spins, it's going to cut up my hand. So you don't want to touch that. So, pull it way down. It cuts really nicely. And we're starting to go in with the big hole now. So I'm going to stop it and make sure that the inside is cleared out. Get all the chips out now. Cut up to that line and you're done. I'm able to get those both holes drilled, one shot. Should have turned my air compressor on so I can pull that out, but let me do that real quick just so I can get rid of that. Compressor too loud?
No, can't even hear it.
Okay. There we go. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is cut those grooves in, or the groove in on this one.
Why don't air compressors hold air better?
What's that? Well, mine's not even charged up yet, so.
What?
My compressor isn't charged up yet. I just turned it on. So it hasn't.
I'm mute.
Okay, so if you remember, I had back to share. So basically, I had this shoulder right here to rest my tool on to get my tool started, and I just need to cut straight into there. to make that notch. So, but I have this to register the tool with on first, so I know where I am in there, even though I'm a little bit blind. So, get that close to where I want it. Okay, that feels good. Now I have that groove cut in there. So
Hey, Tom, I got a question.
yep.
If you may have said already, but if you didn't have that tool you just used, how would you attack making that little notch?
I'd have to probably like grind it up an old Harbor Freight scraper or something.
Okay, you'd have to
Look at that profile.
fabricate something.
Yeah, I think you. So I don't know any tool that would do that except for a little scraper like this. Of some type. But I mean, a lot of people will just grind it out of an old skewer or something. They're not.
The crush grind mechanism is a pair of gears.
Yeah,
How
Tom,
about
you can
To a groove.
just break the tabs off and glue them in.
You can do that. Yep.
Oh, okay.
But I'm not. I'm doing it with the groove.
Wonder if you could use an Allen wrench shoved into a handle.
Probably. It's
You know, if you sharpened it.
Yeah. I mean, you're in there about 3 inches.
Yeah.
So it'd be a pretty heavy one.
Sure. Okay. All right.
Okay, you can do that. It only needs to be about an eighth of an inch deep and an eighth of an inch wide. So.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Sure. But yes, if you don't want to go with the groove, you can just cut the hole a little bit bigger, or just use some epoxy with it. So, but actually, another thing I want to do is I want to just round over this edge just a little bit before we get too much further.
No, it's just post attendee.
So they say that's just so when you're adjusting the grind, you don't cut your fingers up. There's a little more room there. Okay, so now we're ready to start shaping the outside. Smaller tool rest here.
Do I go ahead and open it again?
And I'm just gonna do a real nice simple profile. I'm not gonna do any beads or anything on this one. I don't want to take any time to sand it or make flat beads and get laughed at. So what I'm gonna go with is
Spindle gouge, come on.
nope, spindle roughing gouge. There we go. So I'm gonna start with the spindle roughing gouge. I'm gonna probably take this down another 1/4 inch or so in diameter. So I like mine a little bit thinner. Oops, I can bring up the tailstock. And I can just bury that in there. Just double check, make sure. So this is the top of my body. So that's all good. Okay, it's about the diameter I want. Making a
There's
shape.
shape to it.
I'm working on it. Give me a minute.
Neat.
The only thing you have to remember is there's an inch and 16th hole through that middle, plus maybe a 16th if I didn't line it up quite right. So that's the only thing that's going to restrict your shape.
Oh, that's good, Tom. Doesn't work so good.
The other thing I want to remember is I have the tenon in the chuck, which I would rather make it as part of my design than cut it off. So we'll see if that works or not. Let's not forget about it. Let's see if we can make that all fit together.
Maybe just the birds. Kind of thin there, Tom.
Okay. I'll do some real quick sanding, not anything too.
Hey, Tom,
Yep.
if Marcel is still with us, he has a very interesting way of using his spindle roughing gouge to minimize 2/3 or more of your sanding. I don't know if he's still there and can explain it.
Oh, you there, Marcel?
I am, but I'm not sure what she's talking about.
When we were at Memorial with the teachers, you showed them how to back that spindle gouge up.
Oh, yeah. I just figured everybody knows that. That's, man, I wouldn't know how to begin to describe that.
Yeah, that's good enough for now.
Yeah.
Anyways, no, I still want to do more work up here. So what I'm going to do to make that happen, I have to find the right jam chuck. Not that one. That one. There we go. It's that one.
Tom, why don't you use the top and just use the spigot as the jam chuck and shape it all at the same time?
Say it again.
Put the top. You're going to put the top in and drill it, right?
I am, but yeah, I guess I could do that. Why do I have to put the bottom onto the? Yeah, I guess I could do that, but I'm not gonna make that spindle. That tenon going into for the top into the body is not gonna be that long. So I think I'd rather do it this way. Too much. I always go for that. So I have probably about 6 different jam chucks that are marked pepper grinder. So never quite sure which one's the right one. It's not too bad. Yes. Okay. So that's basically my shape I want to work with. Okay. So that's basically the base. I'm ready to go. So now we'll come up to the back of the knob on top. Okay, so let's get some idea what I want that to look like. See, some turners actually plan things out and they know what they're looking for before they start turning. That's not me.
I got a question.
Yep.
Is there a ratio between the top and the bottom that should be followed?
I mean, good question. You probably, I'm probably gonna make my knob about, about that big to fit. I don't know if there's a strict ratio. I just basically eye it up and decide what I think will look good. Because it's not quite, I mean, I can't see, the rule of thirds doesn't quite work here. So, so I don't know, I just eye it. Some of them I like, some of them I don't. So first thing we're gonna do, I have to make that tenon on this front side. So I'm gonna clean that off first. Let's see. Tighten that up. Now, the only thing I have to remember here, well, it shouldn't matter. As long as I can make the tenon the right size, it should be fine. So, I'm going to tenon about that big. There we go. That's my tenon size, or close to it. Hi. Okay, who's watching Jeopardy? It isn't taking that long. Sorry to get a drink. Yes, can just do spindle gouge. No. That's just a nice loose fit. Good. There we go. That's what I want. Now, about there. Before I get too far, I want to do my other drilling on here before I weaken that too much. So now it's going to be the 7/8 inch hole. This bit. And what you can see is that the depth is marked. So it's going to catch where that about where that tab's going to go in. Okay. I have to drill the little recess for the basically the rod that's going to stick up through the that little white piece. That one is, I think I use 5/8 for that. So basically this hole is going to be a little bit of clearance for this part, and then the rod is going to push through there and stick up a little bit, probably about an inch or so. So I need a little bit of clearance for that. Okay, so about 1 3/8. That should be enough, I think. Yep. Okay, just make sure the hole's going up to about there. Nice thing is if I'm not deep enough, I can always make it a little bit deeper. But I think that should be good. So right about there is where the top of the hole is. So. The next step is to make that little groove on this end also. This is not quite as deep, so it's not quite as tricky. And again, if you don't want to cut the grooves, you just use epoxy, hold everything in. What time is it? Okay. So. Okay, finish shaping the knob a little bit. We'll move on to how these get assembled. What we do here is get this pretty close to shape, and then take it off and do a jam chuck to finish the top of it. Fire it off and for the jam chuck. The next step, to find if I have a gem chuck for this one saved. Doesn't look like it. There it is. Because I have so many little gem chucks marked peppermill that between this design and the other design. Not bad. Okay. Okay, normally here I'd go through my whole sanding regimen. But for now, let's just do a quick and dirty job. Okay, we'll pretend that's all finished up for now. So basically, next step now will be to take this. That's gonna be a boring one. And start assembling it. I have another one already set up. So we'll just assemble that one real quick, and then we all set. So we're gonna pretend. Let's see if I switch the views around a little bit here. There we go. So we're going to pretend that this is the one I just turned. And so what I use to assemble it is I use this. I'm going to use a towel so I can push it together. So this is my top pad here. Now this little centered out. What this is made just so it fits right over that adjustment knob without crushing anything. So that's basically what I'm going to use to push it in. Oh yes, and the other highly expensive tool that you'll need for this is my peppermill depth grinder. As Captain Eddie used to say, it'll be in the fall catalog. And what this does is, normally you'd have to figure out how, I have a hole in here, a little tenon, and I could measure and add everything up, or what I do is I just take this, I make sure it bottoms out of my hole, and I just push this little one up here until it comes up on that lip. And when I do that, I know that That is my size I need to cut my shaft off to. So this shaft has already been cut off to that depth that I had. So this one's all ready to go. So what I'm going to do first is to push the, so what's going to happen is as I'm inserting this, it's going to, eventually the rod's going to stick out on the top. So that's what this hole is for. So there's someplace for the rod to go.
Here's the thing. This has been economically painful so far. It really has. We are very close to being an absolute economic catastrophe. And I have absolutely no confidence that either the governor or the mayor appreciate that fact at all. In fact, I'm pretty sure they don't. At some point, probably long after I'm dead, somebody smart is going to write a book.
Can someone mute their TV or their sound? Thank you. So what's going to happen here is I'm going to have that all lined up there. That's it up there. Everything lined up. Drive it home. Just a little bit more. There we go. So you see we made it up there, and the rod's pointing out the top. So next step now is to I'm going to push this one into the knob now. There we go. Got the knobs inserted. Grab the body. And there we go. All done. So that's how you make a crushed grind pepper mill. Any questions?
Nice job, Tom.
Good.
Very nice, very nice.
Good job, Tommy.
Great job, Tom.
Thank you. Oh,
What's your
I've gotten them from Craft Supplies and Chefware Kits.
what was the second one?
Chefware Kits in Merrimack. Unfortunately, they don't have a storefront. You still have to get them through mail order, even though they're 10 miles down the road from where I work.
I didn't understand what you said. It's a place in Merrimack?
Yeah, it's called Chefware Kits.
Oh, shit.
CA, yeah, Chefware.
Very good. Now, you snap the top on there. How do you fill it?
You snap the top right back off.
It snaps in and out. All right.
Yep, so it comes, let's see, let me put it, spotlight. Just grab it and pulls right off.
All right.
It's hard to do on just the mechanism itself because there's no leverage. Once you get it mounted in, it comes off pretty easily.
So Tom, which one would you recommend for your own use? Which one do you like, ceramic or the other?
I'll probably try the ceramic one next. I have a steel one that I made like 5 years ago.
It works good?
It works fine.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
but I'd like to try one of these and just see, maybe do a salt one.
I've heard stories that they don't last that long, and that was years ago though, so I don't know. Maybe that changed since then.
Yeah, well, the one I have is still going strong, the steel one. So.
Cool.
But you know what, John? I made one like 15 years ago out of
Yeah.
steel, and it still works.
Okay, cool.
Use it all the time.
Good. Good to know.
Tom, where'd you get that specialty drill bit you used?
I ordered that from a place called Woodcuts. They're in Australia, but it's woodcut.com, I believe. Let me see if I have it. Yeah, so there's the.
Yeah, it's Tom's or Tim's place. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's it was I think it was like 80 some dollars.
It's $89 on Amazon. I looked while you were turning. I looked it up.
Okay. So I got mine from Woodcut. It was like 84 when I ordered it. That was a month or so ago. Which is basically, I mean, it's the price of a few really good Forstner bits. So.
Looks like money well spent.
I think so. It makes it so much easier. You don't have to really. They say that's the only real critical dimension. That's and it's the second hole drilled in, so you have to go in and measure and measure and measure. The first one I did, I had to do. It took me forever to get it right. This one I was done in a few minutes.
Perfect.
Nice job, Tom. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
Yeah, well done.
Great.
Hey, real quick, folks. I got this. Wait, let me switch my thing.
Stop playing with your thing, John.
Yeah. I've got this collet chuck here. It's a number 3 Morris taper. If anybody wants it, you can have it. Just send me an email with your address, and I'll send it to you. And it works good. It's a ER32. This one came with a kit that I bought with all the collets, and it doesn't fit anything I've got, but it's like brand new. So if anybody wants it, just let me know.